Damn, my daddy hit me up and said, son, put yourself on child support. And I ain't gonna lie, I feel like that was some that I needed to hear. Because it hit different when your daddy tell you versus when a random chick telling you put yourself on child support. But I'ma say this, and this is what my dad told me. So, but he told me, he said, man, your baby mama can get pissed off. And when your daughter turned 17 years old, 364 days, they can ask for your baby mama can ask for child support. You done did so much, and it don't matter how active you been and how active man, listen, they gonna get you. So it's best, it don't matter how active you is, it's best you just go ahead and put yourself on child support. And don't look at the financial aspect, or don't look at going to court. Don't look at it like a bad thing. You doing what you doing for yourself and your child. Because in my case, right, my daughter don't live in the state with me. She live in another state. So I asked my dad, and I was like, well, Pop, if I'm sitting over here paying child support, why in the fuck would I need to be spending money on a flight there, to get a flight back, to bring her back, to get another flight to take her there and bring her back? You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. Why I gotta go to court and do all that? Like, that don't make no sense. This man looked me in my face and said, this is the consequences of having a baby with somebody that you're not married to. And I ain't gonna lie, that shit hit different. And then he said, it don't matter what you gotta do to get your child, but if you give a damn about your child, you'll ride a bicycle to wherever she is. Like, don't look at child support like it's a money scheme. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I was feeling like that, but at the same time, I feel like, nigga, that's a tool to balance out you and your baby mama. Like, that shit is a balance, hell damn near. Cause your baby mama could feel however the fuck she feel, but as long as that court document say you get on this day, you gotta pay this amount, whatever, smooth. Cause you gonna spend it anyway, nigga. Fuck it. Put yourself on child support, like I said.
Let me ask you something. If someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If they prayed for courage, does God give them courage, or does he give them opportunities to be courageous? If someone prayed for the family to be closer, do you think God zaps them with warm, fuzzy feelings? Or does he give them opportunities to love each other? Well, I gotta run. A lot of people to serve. Enjoy.
Fan. I hope it falls into place just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail, more importantly, you saw the clips. The father-son child support talk. It's a lot going on in this. Like, sometimes, and you live long enough, if you wind up being a kid in a situation who your parents aren't together, and let's say your dad's quote unquote paying child support, it's a chance that you might grow up to be an adult and wind up being a dad, and you be the dad paying child support. And if you have a son, it's a generational thing, because you might wind up in the same situation over and over again, because God's funny like that. It's all normal to you, and then you're in it. And the reason I put the clip with Morgan Freeman in there is because the end part, sometimes God gives you opportunities to be closer. And the child support talk sometimes is one of them, because it's funny how when your kids have kids, and once you have a kid, like like a bunch of like the adult part of it really comes into your head, like, oh Lord, I got to be responsible with it all comes to you like it could be, it's overwhelming. But then because of the responsibility and what you want to be able to do with the opportunity, and then for fathers, their sons who become fathers need that conversation when fathers are getting froze out for being parents, with alienation, or sometimes, the people are taking child support money and using it in all the wrong fashions, and you start and the kids start wanting to have conversations because it's an opportunity for the father to be the parent he didn't fully get the opportunity to be with all the, let's just say, baby mama drama. And it's a time for the son to listen to the father and go, oh shit, not even in a disrespectful way, like, that's your mama was on this, so this is what they gonna be on, because that's gonna come. But when you approach it in the sense of, listen, man, like he was talking about his dad, like, listen, you might as well put yourself on it. And it's like, but then he told him why. It's like, wow. Never, that didn't cross his mind. And even when he's talking about the situation where, the courts, you're supposed to have the baby, this, that, and the third, they're gonna have another conversation, because if the child lives in another state, it's more room for a mother to play games, because he could fly there, and then and he would fly there, rent a car, rent a hotel room, or go rent a car, go to get an Uber to the house to see the baby, and then she spazzes out, call the cops, oh my god, da 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 da, I need a restraining order, he's so violent. Or she could just have him, like I said, he could fly there, get a hotel, rent a car, spend extra money to be with his child, because she don't want him to be with his own child. So this is another way to stick it to him. You get what I'm saying? He has to have that conversation. And then you have to have the conversation of trying to talk to his child on a regular basis, but somehow they just can't have a conversation, because, and it's like, yeah, bro, like, yeah, you just gonna have to keep calling. It's like, but he's like, yeah, people do that, man. People do that. And then you're gonna have to have the conversation about, you got to understand, like, you're over here and they're over there. So you have no control about what's being said about you. And you're gonna find out what's being said about you because of how the kid responds to you. You gonna find out. You gonna find out. And it's like, man, my kid acting like this. They're like, yeah, yeah, they've been talking bad about you. And then you had a conversation, I've never said anything bad about you. I've never talked about you. And it's like, and then you have to have that conversation. And dad be like, yeah, they say that too. Yeah, they say that too. Yeah, like, yeah. What they say to your face and what they say behind your back, two different things. So, but then he said, if you love your baby, you get on the bike and ride there. And that's true too. It's like there comes a point where you're gonna have to have the father son child support conversation about all the extra sacrifices you're gonna have to make outside of a child support order, just to be a father, and just to be the father you see yourself at in your mind. And you're gonna have to go through obstacles with that too, because people might not want you to be a good father. They want you to be a crash out. They want you to go to throw your hands up and say whatever. That's what people want, because some people want control. And then then you could have the conversation just about the schematics of family court, and this will happen if you go to court, and that'll happen if you go to court, and save yourself money, but don't do this, do that. You get what I'm saying? And then you have that aspect of it, or the aspect of it, like, listen, the family we might have to talk, if they family like you, if they family don't like you, the type of stuff you might have to go through because of either one of those things. That happens. The amount of disrespect you're going to receive, and sometimes people respect you for all you going through because it's unnecessary, and sometimes people disrespect you in spite of all you going through that's unnecessary. And it's like, what are we really doing? What's really going on? It's like, yeah, man, we need to have a conversation. They need to talk you through the sometimes the love-hate relationship between a mother and a father, or a hate relationship between a mother and a father, or just the indifferent relationship. And it's like, man, like, how to navigate this whole thing. and you wind up realizing like this ain't as cut and dry as I thought. There's a lot of moving parts to this, because even as a kid I thought it was this, or it's as simple as this and this, but now I realize it could be a plethora of different things. And then you might have to have the conversation of, look, and even though you might be going through a lot and making a lot of sacrifices, you're gonna have to put all that to the side when you spend time with your kid. And that might be very hard to do. Because sometimes y'all might be getting into it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you might just be parenting them about, just to be a better, more responsible person. And y'all might be getting into it because they don't want to be, they don't respect your authority because they were taught to not respect it, or they don't like your parenting style, or they were taught to hate you on sight, in a sense. Like, it's that type of stuff. Or or you're just different, and you do things differently, and you got to work through finding common ground. So, like, man, it's an interesting thing, bro. It's an interesting thing. So, like, when you see brothers going through this, like, sometimes, and it's normal, because sometimes in a normal sense you're gonna have to have that father son child support talk or parenting talk, because and it happens with fathers that people consider deadbeats and fathers that people can consider like highly involved. It's gonna happen either way, but it's gonna happen. But I'm gonna leave it at that, because the clip was so long, so I'm shorten myself up to make the video shorter. So like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna tell you that.